Every day, millions of us walk down ordinary streets, past ordinary houses, living ordinary lives. We file our taxes, we worry about the weather, we get stuck in traffic. But what if, right now, just beyond the edge of your perception, there exists a world humming with ancient magic? A world of cloaked figures whispering in pubs, of owls delivering mail by daylight, of a destiny waiting for you, written in the stars before you were born. What if the most extraordinary thing in the world wasn't some far-off fantasy, but was, in fact, you? Today, we're not just talking about a book. We're talking about an invitation. An invitation to a world that feels more real than our own, waiting for us in the pages of J.K. Rowling's masterpiece, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is a story that speaks to one of the most fundamental human desires, the yearning to belong. It taps into that quiet, persistent whisper in the back of our minds that tells us we are meant for more than the mundane reality we are presented with. It addresses the profound loneliness of feeling like an outcast, a freak, an inconvenience in a world that doesn't value what makes you unique. This is the story of a boy named Harry Potter, who is the living embodiment of this problem. He is unloved, unwanted, and relegated to a life of quiet misery in a cupboard under the stairs. His world is small, gray, and cruel, dominated by his odious relatives, the Dursleys, who see him as nothing more than a burden and a painful reminder of the strangeness they so desperately despise. The core problem of this book is the prison of the ordinary, the crushing weight of a life without magic, without friendship, and without love. But then comes the grand promise. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is not just a story, it is a portal. It promises an escape, not into a flimsy fantasy, but into a richly textured, deeply resonant world where the very things that made you an outcast are the sources of your greatest power. The grand promise of this book is that your letter is on its way. It promises that a giant of a man might just break down your door on your 11th birthday and tell you the one thing you've always needed to hear, that you are not strange, you are not a freak, you are a wizard, you are magic. The book promises to take you from the cramped, dusty cupboard under the stairs to the soaring towers of a magical castle, to trade a life of isolation for one of unbreakable friendship, and to reveal that the greatest adventure of your life is about to begin. It promises that you will find your true home, not in a place, but among people who see you, celebrate you, and would stand with you against the darkest of evils. Our story begins not with a hero, but with a victim. At number 4 Privet Drive, live the Dursleys, a family who prides themselves on being perfectly aggressively normal. Mr. Dursley sells drills. Dursley spies on the neighbors. Their son Dudley is a spoiled, bullying lump of a boy, and in their cupboard under the stairs lives their nephew, Harry Potter. For 10 years, this has been his world. A world of hand-me-down clothes, stolen presents, and the constant, suffocating feeling that he is a burden. He is small, skinny, with unruly black hair and bright green eyes, hidden behind glasses held together with tape. The only remarkable thing about him is a thin, lightning, bolt-shaped scar on his forehead, a relic of the mysterious car crash that he's been told killed his parents. His life is a study in neglect. He is forbidden from asking questions. He is the ghost at the Dursleys' feast, a secret they shudder to keep. But strange things happen around Harry. Things he can't explain. A haircut that grows back overnight. A sweater that shrinks to the size of a puppet to avoid being worn. Finding himself suddenly on a school roof, while being chased by Dudley's gang. These inexplicable events are sources of punishment, not wonder. They only serve to deepen his isolation, to confirm the Dursleys' belief that he is an unnatural freak. And so Harry dreams, as any child in his position would, of an unknown relative coming to take him away, of a life beyond the oppressive normality of Privet Drive. And then, on the cusp of his 11th birthday, the dream begins to take shape. A letter arrives. A letter addressed not just to Harry Potter, but to Mr. H. Potter, the cupboard under the stairs. It is the first letter he has ever received in his life. The envelope is thick, yellowish parchment, the ink an emerald green. It is sealed with purple wax, stamped with a coat of arms, a lion, an eagle, a badger, and a snake surrounding a large letter, H. Before he can open it, it is snatched away by his terrified Uncle Vernon. But this is not an ordinary letter. This is a magical summons, and it cannot be ignored. The next day, another letter arrives. Then another. They begin to multiply, an inexorable flood of magic overwhelming the Dursleys, desperate attempts to maintain their normal world. They seal the mail slot, but letters are pushed under the door. They board up the house, but dozens arrive, hidden inside eggs delivered by a confused milkman. On Sunday, when there is no post, hundreds of letters pour from the fireplace like an avalanche, a testament to a world that will not be denied. In a mad flight from this encroaching magic, Uncle Vernon takes the family to a miserable shack on a rock in the middle of a stormy sea. Here, he believes, they will be safe. But magic, Harry is about to learn, does not respect locks or distance. As the clock strikes midnight, signaling the start of Harry's 11th birthday, there is a tremendous boom at the door. It is smashed from its hinges, and standing in the doorway is a man of impossible size. A giant with a long, shaggy mane of hair, a wild, tangled beard, and eyes glinting like black beetles. This is Rubeus Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts. He has come with a slightly squashed birthday cake, and a piece of news that will shatter Harry's world forever. After a decade of being told he is nothing, Hagrid looks at this small, forgotten boy and utters the 5 most powerful words he has ever heard. Harry, you're a wizard. With that single declaration, the gray walls of Harry's prison crumble. Hagrid is the guide who leads him, and us, into this new reality. Their first stop is not a school, but a bank, and not a street, but an alley. The Leaky Cauldron, a shabby pub invisible to the non-magical eyes of what wizards call muggles, is the gateway. Inside, Harry experiences his first taste of fame. He is not a freak but a legend, the boy who lived. Bartenders and patrons alike flock to shake his hand, whispering his name in awe. It is confusing, overwhelming, and the first hint that his past is far more complex than a simple car crash. From the pub's courtyard, Hagrid taps a sequence of bricks in a wall, and they fold away to reveal Diagon Alley. The sensory overload is immediate and intoxicating. The alley is a bustling, crooked street, a riot of color and sound. Cauldrons of copper and brass are stacked high. Shops sell robes, telescopes, and strange silver instruments. An apothecary's window displays barrels of bat spleens and eel's eyes, and from a dark emporium comes the soft hooting of owls of every description. Here, the ordinary rules of the world are suspended. This is the marketplace of magic, and Harry, holding a bag of wizard money drawn from a vault his parents left him deep beneath the streets of London, is finally able to buy things that are truly his own. He gets his school books from Flourish and Blots, books with titles like 1,000 Magical Herbs and Fungi, and The Dark Forces, a guide to self-protection. He acquires Scales files and a pewter cauldron, but the most significant purchases are yet to come. First, as a birthday present, Hagrid buys him a beautiful snowy owl, whom Harry will name Hedwig. She becomes his first real companion, a living link to the magical world that is now his. And then, they go to Ollivander's makers of fine wands. Since 382 BC, the shop is quiet, ancient, and filled with a palpable sense of power. Mr. Ollivander, the proprietor, is a man with an unnerving memory and pale, silvery eyes. He remembers every wand he has ever sold, including the ones that belong to Harry's parents. Here, Harry learns a fundamental law of this new world. The wand chooses the wizard. He tries wand after wand, each one failing to connect, until Ollivander presents him with a wand of holly, 11 inches long, with a phoenix feather core. The moment Harry holds it, he feels a sudden warmth in his fingers, and a stream of red and gold sparks erupts from the tip. It has chosen him, but there is a chilling revelation. The phoenix that gave the feather for Harry's wand gave only one other feather. Just one. And that feather resides in the wand of Lord Voldemort, the dark wizard who murdered Harry's parents and gave him his scar. The wands are brothers. Harry's destiny, it seems, is inextricably and terrifyingly linked to the very evil that created him. With his supplies gathered and his mind reeling, Harry is taken to King's Cross Station to catch the train to school. But his ticket is for platform 9 and 3/4. Standing between platforms 9 and 10, he finds only a solid brick wall. This is his first test, a leap of faith. It is here that he first meets the Weasleys, a boisterous kind, red-headed family who embody the warmth and acceptance he has never known. They show him the secrets you must simply walk straight at the barrier. Heart-pounding, Harry runs at the solid wall and, instead of crashing, emerges onto a secret platform where the scarlet steam engine of the Hogwarts Express is waiting. The journey to Hogwarts is an education in itself. On the train, he solidifies his friendship with Ron Weasley, the youngest of the Weasley brothers, who is self-conscious about his hand. meet down robes and pet rat, Scabbers, but possesses a fierce loyalty and a deep knowledge of the wizarding world. It is from Ron that Harry learns about the four houses of Hogwarts: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, and the school's beloved sport, Quidditch, played on flying broomsticks. He also meets Hermione Granger, a brilliant but bossy girl from a Muggle family who has already memorized all their textbooks and seems destined to be an insufferable know-it-all. And he has his first proper encounter with Draco Malfoy, a pale, sneering boy from a wealthy, pure-blood family who offers Harry his friendship, but only on the condition that he shuns the wrong sort, like the Weasleys. Harry's quiet refusal, "I think I can tell who the wrong sort are for myself, thanks," draws the battle lines for a rivalry that will define his school years. As night falls, the train arrives at Hogsmeade Station, and the first-year students are led by Hagrid to a fleet of small boats. And then, Harry sees it for the first time. Across a great black lake, perched atop a high mountain, is Hogwarts Castle, a vast silhouette of turrets and towers with windows sparkling against the starry sky. It is a moment of pure, breathtaking magic. This is not just a school, it is a promise of a home. Inside the castle, the newcomers are led to the Great Hall for the sorting ceremony. The hall is a magnificent, bewildering place. 4 long tables are packed with students, and above them, thousands of candles float in midair. The ceiling itself is bewitched to look like the night sky outside. Before them sits a patched, frayed, and extremely dirty wizard's hat on a stool. To Harry's astonishment, the hat begins to sing, explaining its purpose: to look inside each student's head and decide which of the 4 houses they belong to. Gryffindor for the brave, Hufflepuff for the just and loyal, Ravenclaw for the witty and wise, and Slytherin for the cunning and ambitious. One by one, students are called forward. Harry is racked with a new fear. What if the hat finds nothing in him? What if it sends him back to the Dursleys? When his own name is called, whispers erupt throughout the hall. As the hat drops over his eyes, a small voice speaks in his ear. It senses his courage, his mind, and his thirst to prove himself. It tells him he could be great in Slytherin. Terrified, Harry grips the stool and thinks, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. With a final shot of Gryffindor. The hat seals his fate. Harry walks towards the cheering table of red and gold, feeling an overwhelming sense of relief and belonging. He has been chosen. He is home. Life at Hogwarts settles into a rhythm of wonder and challenge. Harry, Ron, and Hermione navigate the castle's 142 moving staircases, its trick doors, and its resident ghosts, like the Gryffindor ghost Nearly Headless Nick and the mischievous poltergeist Peeves. They attend classes that stretch their understanding of reality. In Charms with the tiny Professor Flitwick, they learn to levitate feathers. In Transfiguration with the stern but fair Professor McGonagall, they attempt to turn matches into needles. And in Herbology, they work with strange and magical plants. Their most dreaded class is potions, taught in the dungeons by the sinister Professor Snape. Snape, the head of Slytherin House, takes an immediate and venomous dislike to Harry, humiliating him in their very first lesson. His animosity becomes a dark undercurrent to Harry's new life, a constant source of dread and mystery. The central conflict of the story soon shifts from escaping the past to confronting a present danger. During his first flying lesson, Harry discovers a natural, breathtaking talent for flying. When Malfoy steals a Remembrall from the timid Neville Longbottom and throws it high into the air, Harry instinctively dives on his broom and makes a spectacular 50-foot catch. Instead of being expelled for breaking the rules, he is recruited by Professor McGonagall to be the new seeker for the Gryffindor Quidditch team, the youngest house player in a century. This provides him with a new sense of purpose and identity. But this joy is overshadowed by a growing mystery. On Halloween, a troll is let into the dungeons, creating a diversion. While the school panics, Harry and Ron realize that Hermione, upset by Ron's earlier insults, is alone in the girls' bathroom and doesn't know about the danger. They rush to save her and, through a combination of Harry's bravery and Ron's clumsy but effective magic, they manage to knock out the 12-foot mountain troll. In the aftermath, Hermione lies to the professors, taking the blame to protect them. This act of loyalty cements their friendship, transforming them from 3 individuals into an unbreakable trio. But Harry notices something strange that night. Professor Snape has a mangled, bloody leg, and he seems to have been trying to get past a certain forbidden corridor on the 3rd floor. The trio deduces that the ferocious, three-headed dog they accidentally discovered on that floor is guarding something immensely valuable. Their suspicions about Snape deepen during Harry's first Quidditch match. As he plays, his broomstick begins to buck and writhe, trying to throw him off. From the stands, Hermione sees Snape staring at Harry, muttering under his breath. Believing he is jinxing the broom, she sets Snape's robes on fire, breaking his concentration and saving Harry's life. Harry goes on to catch the golden snitch by accidentally swallowing it, winning the game for Gryffindor in a spectacular fashion. Their investigation leads them to a name Hagrid accidentally lets slip: Nicholas Flamel. After weeks of searching, they discover who he is on the back of a famous wizard card from a chocolate frog. Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone, a legendary substance that can turn any metal into pure gold and produces the elixir of life, which grants immortality. Suddenly, all the pieces click into place. The stone has been moved from Gringotts Bank to Hogwarts for safekeeping. The three-headed dog Fluffy is guarding it, and Snape, they believe, is trying to steal it for his old master, Lord Voldemort. Their fears are amplified when Harry follows Snape into the Forbidden Forest after a Quidditch match. He overhears a tense conversation between Snape and the stuttering, timid Professor Quirrell. Snape seems to be threatening Quirrell, trying to find out how to get past the protective enchantments guarding the stone. Later, during a detention in that same forest, Harry comes face to face with true evil. He discovers a cloaked figure drinking the blood of a dead unicorn. The figure turns on him, and Harry is only saved by the intervention of a centaur named Firenze. Firenze explains the terrible truth: unicorn blood can keep someone alive, even an inch from death, but at the cost of a cursed half-life. Only someone desperate to survive long enough to regain their full power would commit such a monstrous act. The figure in the forest, Firenze implies, was Voldemort himself. The climax is set in motion when Harry learns that Hagrid, while drunk, was tricked by a cloaked stranger in a pub into revealing the secret to calming Fluffy music. Realizing Snape now has the final piece of the puzzle, and that Dumbledore has been lured away from the castle by a fake message, Harry, Ron, and Hermione decide they are the only ones who can protect the stone. Under the cover of Harry's invisibility cloak, they make their way to the third-floor corridor. Their descent through the trapdoor is a masterful sequence, a series of challenges that can only be overcome by their unique, combined skills. They survive the Devil's Snare, a constricting magical plant. Because of Hermione's knowledge of herbology, they navigate a chamber of flying keys, catching the correct one because of Harry's supreme skill as a seeker, and they face a giant living chessboard, which they can only cross by winning the game. This requires Ron's strategic brilliance and, ultimately, his personal sacrifice, as he allows himself to be captured by the White Queen so that Harry can checkmate the king. Harry and Hermione press on, leaving Ron unconscious behind them. The next room contains a logic puzzle of potions created by Snape. Hermione's cool intellect allows her to solve the riddle, identifying the single potion that will allow the drinker to pass through a wall of magical black fire to the final chamber, and another to return safely. There is only enough of the forward-moving potion for one person. Harry must go on alone. After a heartfelt goodbye, in which Hermione tells him that friendship and bravery are more important than books and cleverness, Harry drinks the potion and steps through the flames. He expects to find Snape. He expects to find Voldemort. But in the final chamber, standing before the enchanted mirror of Arised, is the last person he could have imagined: the stuttering, terrified Professor Quirrell. Quirrell, his voice suddenly cold and sharp, reveals the shocking truth. It was he who let in the troll. It was he who tried to kill Harry at the Quidditch match. Snape was there trying to save him, muttering a counter curse. And he has not been acting alone. He unwraps his turban to reveal a second face on the back of his head: the chalk. White red-eyed, snake-like face of Lord Voldemort. Voldemort, a mere parasite, has been sharing Quirrell's body, directing his actions. He orders Quirrell to use Harry to get the stone from the mirror of Arised. Harry looks into the mirror, and because he wants to find the stone, but not use it, he sees his reflection smile and drop the stone into its pocket. At that same moment, Harry feels the real stone drop into his own. When he lies about what he sees, Voldemort knows. He screams, "CZ, him," and Quirrell lunges. But when Quirrell touches Harry's bare skin, his hands begin to blister and burn. Voldemort, full of hatred, cannot touch a person protected by a love as pure and powerful as the one Harry's mother demonstrated when she sacrificed her life for him. Realizing this is his only weapon, Harry grabs Quirrell's face, causing him unimaginable agony. The pain in his own scar explodes, and as Voldemort's shrieking face lunges at him one last time, Harry blacks out. He awakens days later in the hospital wing, with Albus Dumbledore smiling down at him. Dumbledore explains everything, that he arrived just in time to save Harry, that the stone has been destroyed, and that Harry survived because of the ancient, powerful magic of his mother's love. What makes Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone so radically different from anything else in its category is its perfect, alchemical blend of the magical and the mundane. This isn't a high fantasy set in a distant, unrelatable realm. It's a story that insists magic is real, and it's hiding just around the corner, behind a brick wall in a pub, or on an unseen train platform. The world building is so detailed, so charming, and so internally consistent that it feels less like an invention and more like a discovery. Rowling doesn't just give us spells and dragons. She gives us wizarding currency, magical candy, government bureaucracy at the Ministry of Magic, and the complex social strata of pure bloods and muggle-borns. It's this grounding in a relatable reality, the structure of a boarding school, the anxieties of exams, the awkwardness of making new friends, that makes the magic feel so profoundly real and achievable. It masterfully balances the epic quest to save the world with the small, intensely personal quest of a boy trying to find his place in it. So, who is this book for? It is for anyone who has ever felt like an outsider, who has ever looked in the mirror and wished they could see something more. It is for the reader who craves total immersion, who wants a world so rich they can return to it again and again, and find something new to love each time. It's for every person who believes that the bonds of friendship are the most powerful shield we can ever possess. But most of all, this book is for the child that lives inside every one of us, the part of us that still, on some level, believes our own letter from Hogwarts simply got lost in the mail. And who is this book not for? It is not for the hardened cynic, the person who has firmly decided that the world holds no more surprises. It is not for those who seek the grim, morally gray landscapes of modern fantasy. This book has a clear and powerful moral heart. It believes, unabashedly, in the power of love, the importance of courage, and the fundamental triumph of good over evil. The single most valuable takeaway a reader will be left with is a feeling of profound hope. It is the understanding that our circumstances do not define us. Harry starts his journey as the lowest of the low, a neglected boy in a cupboard. But he discovers his worth is not determined by the Dursleys' cruelty, but by his own capacity for love, loyalty, and courage. The book leaves you with the quiet, powerful conviction that the most potent magic in the universe isn't a spell you can learn from a book, but the love you have for others and the bravery to stand up for what is right, even and especially when you are afraid. We began by asking, what if there was a world of magic just beyond our own? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is not just a book. It is the key to that world. It's the acceptance letter you've always been waiting for, a chance to leave the cupboard under the stairs behind forever. This summary is the train ticket to platform 9 3/4. But to truly feel the wind in your hair as you soar on a broomstick, to taste the treacle tart in the Great Hall, to stand with friends against a 12-foot mountain troll, for that, you have to walk through the barrier yourself. To truly understand, you have to let J.K. Rowling's words wash over you and take you home. The link to purchase the book is in the description below. Invest in this experience, you won't regret it. And as always, if this journey resonated with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us again for your next great read.